And to help us make sense of this loss and what it means for South Africa's future moving forward, we're joined by Professor Pitika Ntuli. Professor Ntuli spent many years in exile. He's a writer, he's a poet, a sculptor, and an accomplished academic, as well as a cultural and political commentator. Dumela Ntate. And welcome to Live on 3. When you heard the news, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was that I am just glad that he has rested. Because in our culture, when you reach an age, you don't die, we are go to, you go. But having said that, after that, then I was just caught, dazed and disoriented to say, that's what I've actually said, but what does it exactly mean? What does this person really, mean, to me? Then you have to take a distance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he pushed the angle of reconciliation and unifying the nation. I think a lot of South Africans, regardless of color, felt that what does this actually mean? Yes, we're happy that he's at rest, but what does it actually mean? How do we take this message forward in terms of what this means to guide us at this particular time of mourning?
He believed that if you have got bitterness, in you, bitterness invites, bitterness. If you are bitter, then you remain a prisoner. To reconcile with somebody is to give you an opportunity to walk without looking over your shoulders or of what it is. Mm-hmm. But then for him, the issue of reconciliation was also linked with the reconstruction, and development. These were a movie for him, in power. What would it mean if at all you oppress me, you hit me, and I actually hit you back? If we say an eye for an eye, then the whole world will become blind. Mm-hmm. That's what he was trying to prevent us, from moving along that, death road.
Now, one of the things that you said was to be happy that Utata has passed on and is at rest, but you also went on to write a poem to him.
Yes, I think this poem was also inspired by him because he always was focused on the issues of spirituality. It didn't matter whether you were Jewish, you were Hindu, you were Baha'i, you were this. And we met and we sat down with him and we were discussing the issue of this. Then I decided to go back now and to write a kind of a poem that brings in all these kind of religions together, which was started by, ironically, a rabbi, Jonathan Sachs, who said, we must continue to speak to those people we live with whom we do not want to convert. In a society of plurality, there must be as many voices that make us truly a multiracial nation. Mm-hmm. If we stop talking to each other, we die.
Let's listen to excerpts from the poem.
Under the vast shade cast by the Madiba tree, we stretch our arms to embrace the divine light that guards moments of our dreams for a better life for all that he dreamt for us and carry us beyond ourselves to be one with the world in the spirit of love and reconciliation. Namaste, Vanakum. The divinity in me recognizes the divinity in you. We are of the same blood. The God in your heart and the God in mine are one. We share the same destiny. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I bow to the master of the universe, the creator of creation, master of our thoughts and desires, creator of peace and justice, the benevolent and the merciful. Shalom. May the peace in me be assured by your peace. May the love that pulsates in your heart warm my heart, also guided by the resplendent star of David. Daughters and sons of our beloved land, you who sprang from an African primordial reed of the times, caressed by the breezes of our sacred rivers, of our rugged mountains, warmed by the scattered sun of our ancestors, we salute you.
Wow. And how do we take that forward, Prof? How do we take this message forward into our lives?
I think one of the greatest homage we could pay to Madiba is that when I'm about to do something, I must ask myself, what would Madiba do? If I'm about to say something, so you get me angry and I want to react. If I ask, how would Madiba react, to this? In that way, then, we are following on the footsteps of, this kind of giant. That to think beyond individuals. I mean, we are celebrating him. And yet, say, he always reflected the praises to other people. But we still want to speak about him and see if he was actually an individual, which is what he had resisted, all the time.
So the message here is, what would Madiba have me do? What would Tata want me to do at this particular point in time? Thank you so much, Professor Ntuli, for your insights and your time. Really appreciate it. And talking about Tata, let's take a look at his journey to freedom.
This is Mandela's first television interview.
There is room for all the various races in this country. The Africans want the franchise on the basis of one man, one vote. They want political independence.
No one is born hating another person for the color of their skin, religion, or background. Even in the grimmest times, I have seen glimmers of humanity which reassured me that man's goodness is a flame that can never be extinguished.
Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man, taking his first steps into a new South Africa.
Amandla i-Afrika. Haleluya. Never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa.